So, Peter, what do you know about Canadian Black history?
You know, the Underground Railroad is the entry point which a lot of Canadian Black history is taught from. And so, you know, the free North is oftentimes what we're referred to as. And so I think for me, what I know about Canadian Black History Month outside of specific key individuals is the role that Canada played in the larger conversation of Black history, right? Which is Canada was that place of freedom, that destination that Black slaves leaving the South wanted to come to. Yeah.
So, hi, Rashida. What do you know about Canadian Black history?
I would say not off the top of my head that I would know a lot of information, but I have been given a lot of information. I was taught a lot of information about Canadian Black history here in Sheridan when I first came out of high school. There was a lot of things that it taught about the position that Canada played in not only the civil rights movement, but also just the Underground Railroad and the ending of slavery. But then going out of civil rights and a lot of things that Canadians did, from whether it be students in UFT in Montreal in the civil rights movement within Quebec, and that, I can't remember the university's name, but a big kind of movement and protest that happened within the West Indies. Yes.
Yeah, Sir William George.
Sir William George,
Yes.
exactly. So I felt like I was given a very good opportunity of having an elective that was Canadian Black history coming out of high school and coming to Sheridan, and it teaching me a vast amount of things that Canadians have done, and not just really focusing on American history, but realizing that there's a Canadian Black history also.
Yeah.
It was really impactful. It was really good. Yeah.
Why do you think it's important that everyone should know about Canadian Black history?
Us as black people have made a contribution, and it should be known, because as we continue on and progress through life, these stories should be told throughout time and time again as a learning curve for people to understand where you've come from, where you've developed from, and where we should be heading towards. And so that we don't make the same mistakes as our predecessors.
So, why do you think it's important that people should know about Canadian Black history?
I think the contributions from a lot of Black cultures have been huge to Canadian culture, to American culture, have been very important, and it's just so important to understand kind of the oppression that people face, the dominance that kind of causes that oppression, and to understand that within society kind of allows us to have better practice and to move forward.
Why do you think it's important for everyone to know about Canadian Black history?
Well, because I think when you look at how, going back to the slave trade, it was probably one of the most horrific things in human history, and how they took people and treated them like property. I think when I look back in history, probably one of the biggest problem with rights, it has everything to go around business. Like, that's why when they say, I don't want a black person doing that job, it's really because they want themselves doing it. It's because we're innately selfish, right? So we only care about ourselves and saying, what's good for me? And I think over time, eventually, maybe, possibly, we might get over that.
Why do you think it's important that we all should know about it? Because a lot of times we only learn it in elementary school only, and then after that we don't really talk about it.
Growing up, wasn't obviously the easiest thing, but for others to understand what we go through on a day-to-day basis is very important and critical to how we grow as a society. So from a perspective of understanding why it's important for others to know why Black history is so critical, it's very important that we study Black history, culture, and really understand what we went, what our struggles and where we're at the moment.